How's it going, everybody? Sights Shadow Games Report. Doing part 2 of Watch Dogs 2. Pause. Press that button like 3 times. How we doing, everybody? Labor Day was yesterday, so I took yesterday off. Man, I was even thinking about taking the rest of the week off, and then there was just so much hot pressing news that made me want to do a show. I know I don't have too many viewers, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm one of those weird people that actually has that sense of urgency that wants to get involved, but it seems like the algorithm kind of holds me back, and or people don't enjoy what I do. I'm not really too sure yet. I don't really know what I got to do different though. Um, I don't know. Maybe I got too much color on the screen. that might that might be some of it too. I'm not too sure. But what was kind of strange is like whenever I first got started, I had all these people like hitting me up saying like you got to add a border to your show and you got to add all these different things, man. And I was just like, all right, I'll do it. But really, what they wanted me to do is pay them to do it. And yeah, I ended up just doing it myself. A lot cheaper that way. Kind of, I don't know. I don't want to pay for that kind of stuff. Like I was wanting to make this a little bit of an artistic channel, and I guess I kind of have, but I've also been trying to add to it a little bit more. Last week I was drawing a mask. I don't know if I'll really want to pull it up again tonight. Um, I've been trying to make Tuesdays my creative night, but I think we're going to focus on the news. Since we didn't have a show yesterday, I might even have like specific days for certain things. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to limit myself either at the same time. But yeah, we are going to play Watch Dogs later. We're going to do quite a bit of news before we get into the game. Probably probably going to hit an hour, maybe a little bit over tonight because there's going to be lots of stuff to get to, so I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's go ahead and jump on in. I also might be retiring this background here soon. I mean, it's a part of X. I mean, it was a part of Twitter too before X took it over, and X relabeled it as X Pro. And I mean, it's a cool little Batman feature where you can see all everybody's tweets, kind of scrolling through. But at the same time, I've been thinking about getting rid of my subscription for X, just due to the fact that they don't really seem to want to help me with my reach with the platform. So, it always does help if you want to like the video, helps me a little bit. Even Rumble, it seems like, has been kind of holding me back lately when it comes to, I don't know, getting any type of reach. Like, it seems like they're like slowing me down right around 40 to 50 views. And it's kind of weird. I don't really know what to do about that. It kind of seems like they just want me to pay for their stuff to get any type of reach. But the weird thing with X, I'm paying for the $8 subscription. I'm not paying, more than that. I think I don't know, it's one of those platforms I already had for free for years, and then all of a sudden I pay $8, and then my reach gets cut down. Like I used to at least get shown to a few hundred people on X, and now it's gotten to a weird point where most of my posts only show to like, I mean, it's kind of hit or miss on each post, but it's like it usually slows down around 40 to 50 people. It's very strange to me. And maybe it increases over the weeks and stuff. I haven't really checked a lot of my older posts, but I know I post quite a bit too. So I don't know. I mean, is there a way to know, I guess, how X's algorithm works? Like, I know there's a few different, marketers, and I think even like Clandestine, like, or somebody like that has like maybe it was somebody else. Kanakoa the Great, maybe he had like some X accelerator platform to help people boost their platforms or something like that. I remember seeing it one day. Um, makes you just kind of wonder, like, how do all these things work? Like, makes you want to learn and just like, I don't know. I mean, like, if if I'm gonna pay for something, I want it to work for me, and I don't want just the news. And if I have to retire the screen because this is a part of premium, that's why I'm telling you about it. It's a part of the $8 subscription. Like, you get X Pro, you get this whole feature right here. I mean, it's been a part of my show for a long time. Like, I've had it as a just like as a background. I don't really utilize it that much. I mean, I have a few different episodes, but not as often as I used to. So I might be getting rid of it, and might give me a chance to, I don't know, change up how my channel looks a little bit. Might even get some more professional looking borders, since I don't know. I understand what they were trying to say. They wanted me to sprucing up my show, add some aesthetics to the quality, and I did a little bit, but I did it in a very cheap way. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to take a lot of time on it, and I don't know. Either way, let's go ahead and jump onto the news. I already wasted some time, didn't I? Oops. All right. See, but I still get a lot of the same features, even though if I get rid of, I guess paying for X, I'll still get Grok, I think. I think I'll still get quite a few things for free. I don't know, we'll just have to see how it goes, and if they take away like everything and everything just becomes ads or stupid shit, then, maybe I'll pay for it again. But I don't know, like I don't want to prop up companies like that. Like, especially if other companies don't even want to prop them up either. In which I know a lot of the advertisement realm, is kind of controlled by certain companies, and start to pull their ads if they don't like something. Anyways, let me jump into this. Tens of thousands of Epstein-related records from DOJ released, Oversight Committee says. Trump administration offers to pay police wages in places that join immigration enforcement. Well, that's good. I mean, what was strange is that there was some kind of there was something that was done by, I want to say it was Tennessee, something done from the state government that was actually trying to sprucing up the local police forces to help with immigration enforcement. And maybe that's already kind of occurred, but I would like to see a lot more of it. I think we have a lot of visa holders that are actually helping out a lot of these illegals. Um, I hate to be even racial about it, but it's like in some cases you kind of have to be, to where you might stereotype a little bit just so you can find a larger group of something. And I mean, you really got to question. I mean, nothing against Latinos or anything, but like if you have like 10 vehicles out in front of your house and you have like so many people living there, I know there's no like real legal limit on like how many people you can keep in a house, but I don't know. There is something off about that needs to be done, and I think really this could probably just go door to door and round up quite a few people. And I hate that that even would have to be a thing, but it's just like, I mean, if the situation wasn't as bad as it is, you kind of feel obligated. Uh, I kind of want to check on that story with Tennessee, but at the same time, I don't want to waste too much time because we have a lot to get to. U.S. revokes TSMC's fast track China export status as controls tighten. I don't know much about TSMC, so we're going to keep moving. Then Big Bank defeat antitrust lawsuit in the U.S. over bond trades. U.S. regulators cancel bank exams as Trump rollback gathers pace. There's bank exams? They don't seem to be working. what is a what is a bank exam? I'm curious. I'll pull it up for a second just to. The U.S. regulators are pulling back on some bank exams and use of confidential disciplinary notices. Assigned lenders are already benefiting from a softer touch under President Donald Trump's administration, said more than half a dozen industry executives. Okay. It sounds good. I don't understand it. I kind of wish there was more there. Trump says U.S. has carried out strike against drug-carrying vessel that departed from Venezuela. Yeah, I've got some video for that later. Let's see, over here from Grok's list of headlines. Let's see if there's anything interesting. Iraq reopens historic Mosul mosque. Iraq reopened a historic mosque in Mosul, previously destroyed by the Islamic State, marking a significant cultural restoration effort. Venezuela, Guiana tensions. Venezuela rejected Guiana's claims of gunfire exchanged at their shared border, escalating diplomatic tensions. Indonesia parliament fire. At least 3 people died in a fire at a regional parliament building in Indonesia, with authorities suspecting arson. China SCO Summit and Military Parade. China hosted Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Summit in Tianjin from August 31st to September 1st, following a military parade commemorating the 80th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. The event downplayed the U.S.'s role, prompting commentary from global leaders. Labor Day protest. Nationwide protest titled Workers Over Billionaires, backed by the AFL-CIO, took place in cities like Chicago, San Diego, and Washington, D.C., criticizing policies affecting Medicaid, Social Security, and workers' rights. There's a big Epstein file release today, which I said earlier. Tens of thousands. I think it was around 33,000 Epstein-related records from the DOJ released today. I have not seen too many people go through it. I feel like I was actually one of the first people that reported on it today, because whenever I tried to search for it, there was nothing to pull up for it besides the article that I'd posted, which was from Ground.News. So good on you, Ground.News, for giving me the notice before everybody else. Federal judge blocks Trump's expedited removal policy. Hold up 1 second. Let me read this. Amid White House efforts to block a full release of all files. I don't really understand why it says that, but okay. It just caught my eye, and I was just like, what is it talking about? Federal judge blocks Trump's expedited removal policy. A federal judge issued a temporary block on Trump administration's expanded use of expedited removal for deportations, marking a setback for immigration policies. I don't think it will last very long, though. I don't think they have too much authority over that, to be honest. I mean, really, they get rolled back a lot of the time anyways, so it's just kind of like, why do they keep doing it? Pentagon authorizes military lawyers as immigration judges. Cool. The Pentagon authorized up to 600 military lawyers to serve as temporary immigration judges, a move to support immigration enforcement efforts. All right. You know, it's like we see all this movement going on in the background, but we don't actually see anything on the streets. At least we haven't yet. Maybe we'll see a lot more with the National Guard being called into Chicago. Trump talked about that today. I'll get into that later. I think I got a video. Let's see. Anything else? I don't really see too much I want to talk about here. It's just sports news and entertainment news, K-pop banter. I don't know anything about K-pop. I'm sorry, kids. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all like it. I mean, some of it's okay. Just not my thing. I don't know. Maybe I even play some EDM sometimes that's similar to K-pop, but yeah. Anyways, let's see. Is there anything else from Trump today? I think we did have some Trump stuff. Don't skip over too much. GP Congresswoman, I'm sorry, joins 2026 Iowa Senate race after Senator Joni Ernst confirms she won't run. Was it a woman-on-woman race? Interesting. California Supreme Court decisions could impact decades of gang-related sentencing enhancements. Okay. I wish some of these headlines had more. I just don't feel like digging into the story. I just want them to have everything I need to know right there. I'm so used to Twitter. All the micro expressions. Judge rules Google can retain Chrome but must end exclusive search deals and shared data. I don't think that's really the greatest win for antitrust. I was actually kind of hoping that Chrome was going to have to be sold off. I don't like that. I don't like that. If my voice is supposed to be heard, I'm just going to go ahead and tell everybody I don't like that. I want Google to be broken up. I want Microsoft to be broken up. I want there to be, yeah, just some type of limit on the acquisition of companies, you know, getting control of other companies. I just think it's better for the little guy, honestly. I mean, yeah, you can wave some money in someone's face. I mean, hell, like maybe we should like incentivize partnerships with companies rather than total buyouts. I think that would actually be pretty cool. I mean, a lot of the time they just keep the name and the people, anyways. Um, I don't know, but sometimes they do downsize and get rid of a lot of people too. It really just depends. Trump says he will order federal intervention in Chicago and Baltimore despite local opposition. Trump says U.S. has carried out strike against drug carrying vessel. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Okay. Announcement of Space Command relocation. Trump announced the relocation of the U.S. Space Command headquarters from Colorado to Huntsville, Alabama, reversing a Biden-era decision. He suggested the move was partly to penalize Colorado for its use of vote-by-mail systems. Press conference at the White House. Response to health and death conspiracy theories. Yeah, Trump went golfing and kind of disappeared for a few days, and a lot of people, I don't know, said it was weird, kind of overreacted. I just think that he was just having some time off. He probably needed it. Maybe for health reasons. Maybe to feel a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe to even contemplate or meditate for a little while. Maybe he needs to think about what everybody's saying online. Maybe he needs to read a little bit. Maybe he needs that time. It's not bad for people to take time off and kind of gather, certain details so they can be more informed. I think that would actually be a good thing for Trump right now. So, there's some good news towards the whole Gaza situation. Some news that actually missed last week. I didn't see it anywhere. And I just happened to see it today, and I was just kind of like, well, this news came out August 25th. How did I miss it like a whole week ago? I don't know, somehow, some way I did. Maybe I covered it last week and I just forgot about it, but I don't feel like I covered it. Or maybe I forgot about it. Maybe it's in my feed somewhere and I don't know. There's also been a lot of posts that have not been making it onto X. Another reason I don't want to pay for this platform. I feel like sometimes it is kind of hindering my capability. And I don't know, maybe it's just time to play with other platforms. I want to see what Pickaxe is all about. There's also this other platform called, what was it, Blazit. I want to see who all owns these companies too. I want to get better about that. Just due to the fact that, well, also it spreads my presence, like, but if there's also platforms that will boost me, I also want to take advantage of it. Same for TikTok. I might give TikTok a try since everybody seems to do well on TikTok. I feel like I'm probably coming at the worst time for TikTok because there's probably going to be, I don't know, did they ever get sold off? I feel like I might have covered that one day, but they were talking about it for the longest time. TikTok being sold off to somebody. We'll probably hear about it here soon if they haven't already. I need to grab my food here in a second. We're going to get to the videos soon. Tariff claims. Addressing federal appeals court ruling that deemed most of his tariffs illegal, Trump falsely claimed tariffs had brought in trillions of dollars. Well, definitely not trillions. It would be closer to a trillion, if any, but it's actually probably closer to around 300 billion to 500 billion, so half a trillion. It's not bad, It's not bad. I want to say it's probably closer to 300 billion. I don't want to exaggerate. He announced plans to appeal the Supreme Court for an expedited ruling, and that kind of needs to happen because I don't think that his tariffs are illegal. I think that's kind of, I don't know. These judges are getting kind of crazy. Washington, D.C. crime comments. President praised federal law enforcement efforts in Washington, D.C., claiming we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. State on Caribbean drug strike. Gonna get to that. Let's see, is there anything else? Man charged with murder in Houston. Door knock prank shooting of 11-year-old boy. Damn. Shot 11-year-old boy over a door knock prank. Damn, bro. Not the time to be making jokes. It's not the day of joking. Not the time to joke anymore. Let's go ahead and move on over to this real quick. What happened here? Something changed since I've been on this page. That's old tweets. Why did it move? Stephen Miller fumes after DEI judge Sparkle Suknanen blocks President Trump from uniting orphaned Guatemalan children with their parents. Interesting way to kind of phrase it. Trump has just announced he will issue an executive order requiring voter ID in federal elections. This is old stuff. Why did it scroll down this far? I feel like this has moved since I last saw it. What is that from Sunday? Well, we didn't have a show yesterday, so I guess that might explain it. I did kind of scroll down kind of far. AF Post says Bannon says it's an open secret that CIA Director John Ratcliffe is controlled by Mossad. Bannon made the comment on Getter. I forgot Getter was even a thing. Do I even need to get on Getter? I feel like Getter probably does worse than Truth Social. I don't know. What do you guys think? Regarding an NBC article detailing Tulsi Gabbard's struggle with Ratcliffe after Gabbard removed security clearances of CUA officers. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum demands the U.S. share $15 billion from the convicted cartel boss Ismael El Mayo Zambada with Mexico's poor citizens. said the traditional America doesn't negotiate with terrorists. Because I think Biden kind of ruined a lot of our reputation with that. Obama, too, actually. Beverly Hills has voted to cancel their plan to display Israeli flags. All public schools citing safety concerns and the tremendous backlash they faced on social media. Good. See, this just shows that having a citizen-fueled media gives us stuff like this. It shows that we're not going to put up with shit, and you'll even have people from around the world be able to help you out to some degree. It does make me kind of wonder, though, like, do only certain people on X get the news? Like, are there are there algorithms tailored to their personality in the sense where they might only see like cat videos, or they might only see, I don't know, nail polish videos, just random things like that. Like, the reason I'm bringing this up is because sometimes I'll see certain posts just perform a lot better than others. It just makes me wonder, like, how is the news disseminated? And also, I mean, even like from accounts that don't really show their face or anything. I don't put my profile picture on my account anymore, but I don't even think a lot of these people even show their face in real life. I mean, I know some of these faceless profile picture accounts do show their face in some circumstances, but not a lot of them. Not a lot of them. Oh yeah. Trump forces strike Venezuelan. Oh wait, let me finish this real quick. I'll jump into a different story before I finish this. I want to watch this video.
Just days after the vote, Superintendent Alex Chernus blocked the move, citing safety concerns.
I made the decision based on the misinformation out there, based on the fact that this is a highly charged issue. I think the purpose of this resolution is to calm everybody down and make it very clear that when we fly the flags in front of our schools, it'll only be the U.S. flag and the flag of California. Thank you.
I don't know if you guys anticipated the amount of undue stress and self-inflicted wounds this did to our standing as a district. I'm embarrassed. To date, I have received 480 highly negative, vulgar, anti-Semitic comments.
The superintendent cited safety concerns when pausing the plan. The board this afternoon agreed to scrap it. Supporters say the idea of flying the flag is to show Jewish support and fight anti-Semitism. But people against flying the flag say this blurs the line between supporting the Jewish community and a foreign government, especially during the war in Gaza.
Got a lot of conspiracy stuff lined up too. Trump's forces strike Venezuelan drug vessel, killing 11 cartel members. President Donald Trump ordered U.S. military forces to conduct a lethal strike on a Venezuelan drug trafficking vessel in the southern Caribbean, killing 11 suspected members of the Tren de Agua gang. The operation targeted a boat carrying narcotics linked to Nicolas Maduro's regime as part of a broader U.S. crackdown on narco-terrorism, with no American casualties reported. Here's the video. Kind of curious what they hit him with. Maybe like a laser guided something. It almost looked like it was lased in. The deep state, the central banks of every country in the world are under the control of the Rothschilds, the Vatican, and the Chanda Jews. Not sure who this man is in the video, but he seems intelligent.
The central banks of every country in the world are under the control of the Rothschilds, the Vatican, and the Chabad Jews. The leaders of these central banks are hand-picked and approved by the Rothschilds. The same is true of most bankers. For instance, the major leaders of Morgan Guarantee and Citibank and Goldman Sachs and so forth, these people are all approved by the Rothschilds, the Vatican, and the Chabad Jews. They are not elected. They are not selected on merit. They're selected on the basis of being loyal to the deep state. People need to understand that the deep state is above governments. The deep state essentially consists of the Rothschilds and the Vatican, including both the Black Pope and the White Pope, as well as the Chabad Jews. They use the Freemasons and the Knights of Malta at the highest levels as their fixers, and they use world banks as their managers. Most governments have two parties that are elected by 30% of the public. The other 70% of the public is disenfranchised. The politicians and the military leaders and the bankers at the national level are the best of the servant class. They comprise the shadow government, but they are not the deep state. They are the servants of the deep state.
Sorry, 1 second. Big protest breaking out all over the world. Reminds me of 2019 when the Yellow Vest and Dutch farmers in Hong Kong protests. Then COVID hit. Harrison H. Smith, InfoWars. Which there quite a bit of drama today at InfoWars, if anybody is familiar. Owen Schroyer has officially quit InfoWars, it seems like. I was kind of hoping that they would create some space between each other and give each other time to think and not fight each other, but that didn't happen. Everything just got 10 times worse today whenever Alex decided to reveal his emotions behind the whole situation. And yeah, things got pretty heated, and he felt pretty betrayed. And I guess I can understand why he might feel that way. But at the same time, I want to also express that he probably went well over the line of what's acceptable for someone that was such a Owen, think of him what you will, but I thought he was a pretty good freedom fighter, and he did go to jail for InfoWars, and he, I think the stress got to him. I think not getting a lot of what we were wanting from Trump might have fueled a lot of his frustration, and maybe even made him paranoid. Maybe it made him start to kind of question his surroundings and wonder if he's working for an intelligence agency or something like that. I'm not saying this is what Owen thinks at all. I'm just, giving out hypotheticals of what could be going through his mind by him listening to the people that watch him. because one thing that I've noticed in a lot of live chats is that people will be very, very damning towards really anything that they say. And I think I don't think he was really expecting the trolls to be as bad as they are. Which I'll be honest too, like I'm a pretty bad troll on most days myself. I like to have fun in live chats. I like to be very honest. And I don't know, sometimes too much honesty can be funny. And I guess that's what I'm trying to shoot for, is trying to be, satirical and whatnot. But at the same time, um, I respect a lot of the people that do work at InfoWars, and I don't know for a fact whether or not any of them work for an intelligence agency. It's just more or less, there's lots of theories that start to brew online, and people do question things. And if you're going to have a show about conspiracies, you're going to have people develop their own conspiracies about people reviewing the conspiracies themselves. Some people are even started to kind of wonder, like, are different parts of the independent media already being taken over by intelligence communities? And we see a lot of CIA, or at least ex-CIA, that's what they say, entering the independent media spaces, along with different feds, federal agents, FBI, etc., that went into the independent media. Bongino, he was ex Secret Service. A lot of these people that were in the conservative media space were actually federal agents at one point. Even Bannon. Bannon talks crap against Mossad. It's like, all right, well, you were a U.S. official at one point. Why didn't you do a lot back then? Maybe you did. Maybe you did a lot in the background. There's been lots of discussion around Trump and Q lately, which I'll get to that soon. Oh my gosh, it's just so much news. I need to shut up. Shut up and move on. All right, let's go. I don't think I even watched this video. We'll watch it real quick. It's only a minute and a half long. Why is it that when schools teach about Andrew Jackson, you only hear about the Trail of Tears? Biased media.
Why is it that when schools teach about Andrew Jackson, you only hear about the Trail of Tears, and not that he was the last president to successfully take on the banks? Or that he famously said the banks were trying to him, and then someone took 2 shots at him, but the assassin missed and Jackson beat him with his cane? That he not only went to war with the banks, but he canceled the charter of the Second Bank of the United States, which would be the modern equivalent of ending the charter of the Federal Reserve Bank, which is why Jackson was known as the People's President. He was one of the most popular and beloved presidents in American history, and he extended 1776 by 81 years. And Jackson not only balanced the budget, he is the only president in U.S. history to fully pay off America's debt. But there has been a well-funded and insidious agenda to turn the American people against our roots, against our history, and against our interests. And that's why I just released our second historical audiobook, this one on Andrew Jackson. Because we're not only going to bring back the history they've tried to take from us, but we're going to teach our kids as well. So check out The Life of Andrew Jackson and get your kids my books on how information is controlled.
Okay, I'm not trying to plug his books, but I guess if you guys want to, go check out his stuff. That's Brett Pike. Okay, so I will cover this because it was pretty interesting yesterday. It kind of seemed as if Alex Jones was coming out saying that he was a part of the whole Q group, Q team, Q whatever you want to call it, early on. And it seems like Alex Jones has been trying to admit this over the years. And, if you disagree with me, feel free to disagree. But he has said it with General Flynn. Even Flynn said that it was real early on, and Alex Jones will confirm that again right here. So, yeah, listen up. And before we get into this video, I'm going to cover this real quick. House drops 33,000 Epstein files amid survivor demands for truth. House Oversight Committee, led by Chairman James Comer, released over 33,000 pages of Jeffrey Epstein's documents subpoenaed from the Department of Justice amid emotional survivor testimonies, including those from Rep. Anna Paulina Luna and Rep. Nancy Mace, who was visibly shaken. The release highlights Epstein's potential ties to foreign intelligence and sparks calls for full accountability. Critics, including Democrats like Robert Garcia, argue much of the content is already public, intensifying demands for unredacted files to expose powerful figures involved. So Nancy Mace left the scene in tears. I'll try that video again. It'll start to clean up a little bit. Or not. Maybe it's the videos that's kind of messed up. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna says, after talking with Epstein survivors today, it's clear this thing is a lot bigger than we could have anticipated. Rich, powerful people need to go to prison. I'm going to get to the Q video in a second. I just want to get this out of the way.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is the victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also too following up on that. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily. But I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
Will you sign the discharge petition and ask the discharge petition?
I think that the files will probably be released prior. I don't know why Comer hasn't. I think that he should do it, so it wouldn't even have to come to a vote. But I mean, obviously, I've been a huge advocate, even when I was the only one in Congress calling for the release of those files. So I think I'd be happy to, yes. Thank you.
What do they call for the victims? Do they want those files released?
The victims want information to be out there, but they don't want their personal information, I think, for good reason to be out there. So I think from the get-go, even the Attorney General has stated that there's victim information that you have to make sure that's private, being that some of the victims also, too, are as young as 14, and it's child pornography. So thank you, guys.
Trump writes his own tweets, but the Truth Social stuff, a lot of the memes, he doesn't. So when I saw this today, the world will soon understand nothing can stop what is coming. And in his hand is Q+. Q+ is in the Q lore, starts in 2017, that's the Q leader, or Trump. So did Trump post this? I don't know. Is Trump saying he's Q? No. Q was created because when the WikiLeaks came out, and people like myself and others posted it, and Drudge posted it about the spirit cooking, and John Podesta, there was a discussion, I wasn't in on it at that time, about how do we anonymously put all this stuff out. So as soon as Trump got inaugurated, they're like, hey, we're setting this thing up. We're going to do these little Q drops and shots at the White House on Air Force One, added credibility. And then later they come down like, hey, we want you to get involved. And I said, listen, my issue is just like anonymous. You can have somebody that's good putting on a Guy Fawkes mask saying things were anonymous, but the general public thinks it's like a real thing, one big conglomerate. I said, how are you going to stop stuff and disinfo and then manipulating people thinking they're actually, part of this thing. It's very esoteric. It's very Gnostic. I said, I think it's going to go sideways, but I'll support the stuff you guys push that I think isn't bad. And then later, like, oh, you're right. 6 months later, they got taken away and too much disinfo. And yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Please don't tell anybody about it. I'm going to talk about this. We put the digital version up people so they can actually see it. And I started getting this sent to me this morning over and over and over and over again. And for radio listeners, it's Trump in his classic navy blue suit with the white shirt and red tie, standing in front of a world. And you can see it was fan made. That's what he posts a lot of on his Truth Social account. And in his left hand is Q+. Now, Q+ has been reported since they created the Q thing in 2017 as the leader of Q, the Q god, reported to be Trump himself. Now, again, a fan made this spiritual street fighter. Trump did not make this. I can tell you what the Q thing is. I've told you what it is. And there was a big debate on whether it was going to be successful or not. The decision was made that it was not successful about a year in. And that's because it's too easy for other people to then misrepresent what Q was when the White House, some people in the White House had the idea for it. And they tried to recruit me into it, and I made the obvious point at my house meeting with them in 2017 that it's like anonymous. When you just have somebody wearing a Guy Fawkes mask and a black hood, and then they go, oh, this represents anonymous, like it's this magic army, and then it could be anybody. Some of the messages are good groups, some of the messages are bad groups. And that was my issue with it, and when I said, I don't think this is a good idea. Now, from what I was told, and I've never even asked Trump about this. Oh, I asked him sometime. He didn't know about it. But it was some senior people, and I know because they told me about it. And then it created this whole other cottage industry of delusion and really fake news. Like I saw one of the big Q accounts today saying Netanyahu said Iran will hit 17 cities with nukes. Went and looked it up. Netanyahu didn't say that. So it's people attached to it constantly putting out this info. And I always say I'm going to tell you, and then I get to it right away. But next hour, I'll spend 15 minutes on it. And again, it's very frustrating to know the facts, predict what was going to happen, and then have so many people sit there and say, no, you're just not in the chosen circle of the Q power and all this crap. Absolutely ridiculous. So you can put the stuff we say in the bank like this. Trump is not going to run for president in 2028. Absolutely is not going to do it. That is directly from the president. He trolls the media, but he has told his confidants, multiple ones, like Roger Stone, who said this last week on the show, that it's not happening. Roger Stone's known Trump for years. He was his wingman when he was in between wives. They double date. Roger Stone, was big buddies with him and Roy Cohn. He goes back that far. That was McCarthy's head lawyer. So that's a real person. That's Roger Stone. So just on subjects like that. But I'll explain how this esoteric stuff works and why they decided to try this. And I've been proven right that it's been extremely destructive. Because
I didn't realize I just burped with my mouth. Mic on. My bad. Trump on National Guard deployment to Chicago. We're going in.
Mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And there are people.
He's like
in this
rarely
audience
calls out
that
Peter.
You've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk about it. Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in D.C. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open. They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad, really, really bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week, you know, it was like years, many years where every single week somebody was killed for many, many, many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then we had, last week it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I said, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem. And we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the
So where's the part about Chicago? Has it gotten there yet?
mayor has been very helpful, and the police commission has been very helpful, and it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for him and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected.
Okay,
I saw
I think that's
today
it
on
right there.
one of your networks, not a friendly network, except really the opposite, I would say, very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about 12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, who were black. And they were saying, please, please, please let the president send it. These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country. And that includes Baltimore. I saw where Governor Moore was asking me to take a walk down the street of Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is a very unsafe place. It's rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world. But, you know, we took care. This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this wasn't just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. You know, we had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit. So merit for a soldier or for a policeman is strong, physically fit, having a certain ability, not a person that is woke and got the job through woke, but wasn't strong enough to lift a gun out of the holster, et cetera, et cetera. No, I looked at the police. As you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting there had to be 300 people, and they were all very impressive looking. And when the bad guys see them, they're not going to do a thing. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template. and we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. You know, we took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals. And they.
Okay, let's move on. The AI revolution is so massive that electricity prices are moving in a literal straight line higher. Energy is the new limiting factor to AI growth. Yeah, it's getting to a weird place where we're starting to prioritize AI, electricity, over electricity for humans. Like, why are we prioritizing data facilities being built? I think there was one that actually got shot down. I think it was out in Arizona, something like that. We talked about it last week. I can't remember all the details now. So much news. It just kind of flows in one ear and out the other. But there was a data center, and it was going to use up quite a bit of electricity, and I think it was even going to take quite a bit of water from certain residents. And it's just kind of like, okay, what are we prioritizing here? Like, what is the AI even doing, like, to help society? You know, is it only helping out one person? Like, do we really need to have all these resources dedicated for what could end up being a new life form eventually? I mean, I'm not saying it is right now. I'm just saying we're kind of building up towards that. You know, and eventually, if we do upload these things into robotic bodies, or even synthetic biological bodies, or even, you know, consciousness transfers of sorts, I mean, you know, where's this going? What are we doing with it? Is it beneficial for the human race? Is it only beneficial for the corporate entities that it's going to be mainly used by? I don't know. It's going to be good for a lot of things, but we need to focus on having renewable resources towards these types of things. I'm not even opposed to nuclear energy if it's clean enough to do it, or we have some way of disposing the waste or reutilizing the waste in a different form. I think that wind energy is actually a good source of energy. I just think that the design of the large bladed turbines that are being put out in the fields, I think those need to be, you know, obviously scrapped, and we need to look at other designs. There's actually a bladeless design windmill. There's actually a swivel design vortex turbine, which just, you know, it's cylindrical and it just spins in place and it catches the wind. And I mean, you know, it doesn't hurt birds as long as the birds aren't stupid enough to fly into it. Which I'm not gonna say that they're not, because I was actually kind of surprised that they were hitting the other turbines. I randomly came across this video and I just thought it was cool. Made sure that the copper coil was touching the screw. Wraps it in a coil. Got a positive and negative ground. I don't know why he's super gluing it. It's just something quick for them for the video. Yeah, the screws even stick to the magnet. And boom. You got free light if you ever need it out in the woods with a light bulb, a couple wires, and a magnet. If that ever works with any other thing, like, please tell me, or please make a video. That'd be actually pretty funny. Gold on a casual Sunday night on a 3-day weekend. Rate cuts are coming into 3% plus inflation, which I think that number has actually even gone up with the estimates now. This is just a meme. Well, yeah, it's a meme, but it's showing the weird contradictions of their, I guess, their headlines. Want to slow climate change? Stop having babies, from Bloomberg. Only immigrants can reverse America's baby bust, from Bloomberg. Interesting. So America, or Americans, are not having babies because they can't afford to. And rather than fix the economic issue so that we can have babies, they just allow illegal immigrants to come in and replace our population. And we're just supposed to be cool with it. Gotta love the people in our government. Here to screw us over, which is just wild. It's like, man, why can't you, like, attack the enemy? Like, attack, I don't know, some other country. Attack the bad countries, whichever ones those actually are, which I don't even know which country is actually even bad anymore. I feel like we're the worst one now. RFK is potentially looking into dog vaccines. I don't feel like covering this video, but you guys can go watch it if you want to. I don't remember what this video is about, so I'm not going to get into it. I think I watched like 5 minutes of it. It was interesting, but I didn't finish it. Breaking: some MAGA supporters have announced a boycott against Netflix after it was revealed the founder gave $2 million to Gavin Newsom's redistricting effort. Elon Musk calls for extreme accountability. Every congressman in this video stands Andy Biggs should be tried for treason for putting the interests of Israel before interests of the U.S.
Congressman, my name's Frankie Stocks. I'm a reporter with the Stu Peters Network. I would just love to ask you a quick question. I'm trying to ask every representative I can.
Go for it, Frankie.
That is, do you care more about the American people or Israel as a member of Congress?
I don't think they're mutually exclusive, Frankie.
Can you elaborate?
They're our best ally.
Are they? Who do you care about more, the United States or Israel? United States or Israel, sir? No answer? Should we put you down for Israel? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? It's an easy one. American people or Israel? You don't got to fake a phone call. American people or Israel? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? The American people or Israel, sir? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? No answer?
I think that Israel is one of our strongest allies in a part of the world where people are trying to harm us, and I think they need our support.
So should the U.S. continue funding Israel? Despite their links to the 9/11 or their attack on the USS Liberty? Who do you care about more, the United States or Israel?
You know what? That's kind of an odd question to ask.
Well, it's a question the American people have been asking a lot because they're starting to wake up to how much AIPAC money is flowing into the coffers of Congress.
Well, if you watch what I've done over the years since I've been here, a question about do we have some strong support for Israel, I think it would be hard to find somebody who's more positive about it than I have. So I'm amazed sometimes at where the American people are, how they think. It's like, this is so against everything I've ever lived here. People who raised me, everyone accepted. So
Well, we have American citizens who are about to freeze to death in western North Carolina, and we're sending billions to Israel. So,
That's not a comparison.
well, it is a comparison because the money's going out. It's all coming from the same people. It's coming from the taxpayers, sir. Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? American people or Israel, sir?
Okay, you get the idea. There's probably going to be like I don't know, 20 other more Congress people. It's already pretty alarming, the amount that we've already seen. The Podesta brothers, deep state corruption, and so-called artwork. The Podesta brothers don't collect art, they collect real-time trauma. Memories in flames. Or in frames, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the band for a second. I need to listen to that band. I haven't listened to that
Do you know
band.
what this is? Do you know what this is, Kurt?
Yeah, that's from Podesta's Brothers Art Collection, I believe, right? That came out during Pizzagate.
So
That's right, I
John
saw it.
Podesta, his brother Tony Podesta.
Yeah.
Center for American Progress promoted a spending bill that would jumpstart the economy. We all know what happened there, huh? Now we know the Apollo Alliance wrote the stimulus bill. It's no surprise, you ready? You're going to love this one, that John Podesta sits on the board for Center American Progress and the Apollo Alliance. It's a small world after all. So you can see the policies and the plan of action are near mirror images. Isn't it great? But don't forget, the man at the center of all of this, George Soros, can make billions of dollars. You won't be able to. You're going to get screwed in the deal, but he can. And he's working hard on putting a new system together for you. The great thing is the administration is helping him out. So far, it looks like they're willing to play ball, and they're doing it. But it goes deeper still. CAP's founder, John Podesta, has a brother named Tony Podesta. Remember I told you? Tony Podesta? What does Tony Podesta do for BP? Well, I want to show you this document. This is fantastic. Here it is. This is the lobbying report. I'm only showing you all of this stuff because I'm so sick and tired of people saying, Glenn Beck, he doesn't have any facts. This is the lobbying report right here. Tony and John got together and they started a lobbying company. Now, Tony just happens to be the lobbyist for BP. Okay? Now, this is weird because he's helping coordinate BP and John is helping coordinate the attack on BP and their brothers in a company that they both formed. It's almost like there might be a conflict of interest here. I'm trying really hard not to believe that this whole response to the oil spill is some sort of scripted progressive horror show here. But the more you find out, it's almost like there might have been a deal before BP. Why talk to the CEO? You didn't need to. John could just call up Tony. Tony could call John. George could set the deal, and Obama would execute it. Oh, I shouldn't say execution, should I? I'm just saying. Tony Podesta has more than one client. You ready? NBC Universal. Wait a minute. Hold it. Who owns NBC Universal? GE. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is starting to make sense. Who owns the smart grid technology that I just told you about in California? GE. Isn't that weird? Back to the Center for American Progress. Again, this president either has a lot of connections in real spooky and dark places, or it's the saddest story I've ever heard. Because every time we start to look into President Obama, we either find a Marxist, a communist, or somebody a part of Crime Inc. that's screwing you, the taxpayer, to the wall.
This was in his art collection.
Yeah.
Artwork by Kim Noble. John Podesta's brother Tony owns some of Noble's artwork, and that's artwork. And so what does that look like to you? It looks horrible. It looks horrible.
I mean, it don't look good, does it?
Yeah, I've heard about the artwork of Tony Podesta. I have heard about that.
Jenna's going to do a bad art podcast about it because she did a
really?
house art before anybody. Yeah, and that I think you had that reporter on from local news. I can't remember what state it was, and he went over what all the Pizzagate thing was about, and then lost his job. But he did a very reasonable thing. Yeah, so that guy, that's why I first saw this. And I look back into Pizzagate, everybody, if you thought that was just completely made up. I maybe would pull your head out of your ass and look back into it.
So they never explained what they meant. So this comes from John Podesta's emails where they would refer to say, maybe you should take that kid and have a pizza with them, right? So they kept using these code words, and pizza was one of them.
And mom ordered $60,000 worth of hot dogs and pizza, which just so happened to be FBI code for what child traffickers call kids when they do what this art depicts to them.
Yeah. So it's really wild that you weren't allowed to, so whatever you're not allowed to ask questions about, there's something there. 9/11, Building 7. You weren't allowed to ask questions about Seth Rich. Now the FBI won't release his laptop for 65 years. You weren't allowed to ask questions about the COVID virus or the vaccine. You weren't allowed to ask questions about the lockdown, all that stuff. And so whenever you're not allowed to ask questions about something, there's something there. And you weren't allowed to ask questions about Pizzagate. If you were, you're crazy. Just like if you ask questions about 9/11, you're a truther. You're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
So if you ask questions about Pizzagate and what the heck those code words meant in John Podesta's emails, they had to shame when it comes that hard. Remember, all I did was I covered a press conference by an investigator from the D.C. Police Department who was hired by the family of Seth Rich to investigate it. He did a press conference. I covered it. They put me in a hit piece in the Washington Post calling me a conspiracy theorist along with white supremacists and Nazis and pedophiles to try to demonize YouTube, and they put me in that.
Okay. Enough of that video. 8 minutes long. It's got 2 minutes left. We've heard let's see. We have all heard of the book that then turned a movie, Schindler's List. It gets passed off as real history to school children and adults alike. There's just one problem. It's fiction, it's fake, it's bullshit, it didn't happen.
The film is based upon this book, right?
Yeah, that's right.
This book, Schindler's List. Now, as Mr. Zundel said, this book is a work of fiction.
Yeah.
Then, Mr. Zundel, you pointed out to me in so many places, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to take the liberty to read part of it here. This book, in the beginning, in the back, and front cover, says this is a work of fiction. Now, think what that... Well, let me read it to you here. This is in the very front cover. It says, this book is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Now, I'm going to let that soak in, friends. That's right out of the book here. Schindler's List. It also says this. It says, any resemblance to actual events or locales or persons, living or dead, is entirely coincidental. Now imagine, we've got in America today this Schindler's List being shown to school children as if it's the truth, and the author right away says, hey, this whole thing is imagination. We made it up. It's fiction.
Yeah, we have governors of states like New Jersey and California actually decreeing that school students must go and see the film. They have over 30,000 teaching guides already shipped out. It is an amazing thing to me that we are trying to teach our children about a historical event, alleged historical event, based on a prize-winning novel.
Well, let me read another one in the back. Let me give you another one here. It says, in addition to Schindler's List, which won the book's prize, and the LA Times book award for fiction. So, here we have a film, ladies and gentlemen, Schindler's List, being shown to our school children as truth when it's based on the book that says this is a work of fiction. In other words, it's not true.
So this is from Benny Johnson from yesterday. A New York Times The New York Times just wrote a hit piece targeting my wife and children. The angle was that there is no proof that my newborn child was in any danger when our home in DC was severely damaged by an arsonist. So I'm posting the proof here. Looks like, I guess, Benny Johnson's house was burned by an arsonist. I don't think it was burned down, it was just severely damaged from what he says. Watch my security camera. Capture DC police using a crowbar to rip my front door open as neighbors scream. There's a baby inside. Black smoke from the inferno fills my child's nursery. Moments later, my terrified wife runs out of the home with our newborn in her arms. Which we saw all of that. Well, thankfully, it doesn't seem like anyone was hurt. So that's good, but people are getting crazy, y'all. Be careful. Lock up. Lock up and load up. Serious credit card delinquencies, unpaid balance for at least 90 days hit their highest level in 14 years. Basically since the, after the last recession. I don't know if that's signs of recovery or not, but you can see it didn't all happen in 2008. It actually happened into 2010, it looks like. As a proud Irish woman, I like to see the national flag flying. I don't know why I covered that, but I just read that. Oh, that's why. It's in that feed for some reason. Robert Mueller was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2021. His family confirmed to the New York Times due to mobility and speech difficulties. Mueller is unable to testify requested by Congress. Oh, that's weird. You know, this guy that seemed fine. What was it, just like a year or two ago? When he was in his position. Special counsel. Investigator, I want to say, or something like that. The House Oversight Committee had planned to subpoena him for a Tuesday hearing regarding the federal handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case, according to NYP. Oh, that's strange. All of a sudden, he has Parkinson's right before he was going to be subpoenaed. Oh my God. I honestly don't think people realize how bad it is in England. The Great Replacement is real. We all need to wake up.
There is not a single white British child in 72 schools across England. In 454 schools, white British children make up less than 2% of the student body. White British children are also now a minority in 1 in 4 schools.
450 something schools, and their white English students are 2% of the population of the schools.
So we're updating the Great Replacement Theory. You know, the Wikipedia page that says Great Replacement Theory now should probably be The Great Replacement year 6, maybe?
That is like the craziest numbers I've ever heard.
You need to wake up. You need to know where we are and what the score is at this point.
There is not a single one.
HHS RFK Jr. is firing the criminal Bill Gates, biological terrorist, and pandemic planners en masse from Liz Churchill. This is absolutely winning. I'm not going to play any more of that because it's probably a copyrighted song. I was actually kind of hoping it was a different video. The Rock is going viral after losing so much weight that he nearly is unrecognizable to many, with most of his muscle mass seemingly gone. Did he get advice from Oprah Winfrey? I don't know. Is this the same Rock? Why did I play that? I shouldn't have played that. Stupid ass song. So was playing. I wasn't thinking for a second. I was just watching the video. I was just like, he is skinny as F. Comparatively from what I remember him as growing up. Go watch the old Doom movie with The Rock. He was pretty buff back then. Jesus, man. What's Tampon Tim doing in the feed? Is everyone in politics a scumbag criminal? I said. Democrats in Michigan have been creating thousands of fake jobs and then laundering that money back to themselves. We just had to cut 4,277 phantom jobs.
One of the biggest frauds we've uncovered in Michigan.
We've identified $5 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse in the state budget.
A lot of people are very, very concerned, oh my gosh, to have a budget that's under $80 billion, you must have had to gut a lot. Nope, we didn't have to gut, we just had to cut 4,277 phantom jobs.
You guys realize what a scandal this is? People should be prosecuted for taking money that was appropriated to hire employees and using that money for another purpose entirely.
Gender reassignment surgeries for prisoners. There are programs in there that don't even exist, and they're funding them. Like the Starbase, I mean, that was eliminated a few years ago, and they still fund it. We get rid of the arts and culture grants. They're real waste. I mean, you look at what they are. Glass blowing, barbershop quartets, all kinds of things, really. It's incredible the things they got away with calling it arts and culture grants. See, that's why Winnie Brinks doesn't want to get in the room with me, because I know the budget in and out. I don't know it as well as Ann. So they know if Ann and I get in the room with Sarah Anthony and Winnie Brinks, we're going to get a great deal because we know the budget better than them.
Israeli generals are waltzing around the Hamptons brunching with their rich donors.
Very few of us in this room will probably end up enlisting, but what can American Jews be doing in order to support Israel at the moment?
As a Jewish Long Islander, and in the name of my ancestors who were murdered by the Nazis, I demand an end to Israel's genocide against Palestinians. Never again is for everyone. I am disgusted to have this war criminal from the IDF here in our community. He is a monster. You're not welcome here. Stop the genocide! Free! Free Palestine! Stop the genocide! Free Palestine! Stop the genocide! We're not Jewish values!
We here are embodying Jewish values by resisting genocide, by resisting the killing of children, by saying never again to anyone, by saying never again to anyone!
UK free speech crackdown sees up to 30 people a day arrested for petty offenses such as retweets and cartoons. Pretty alarming. I said, this is the deep state. Whoever built that thing. Pretty neat invention. I wonder if it would break after you shot it, though. French President Emmanuel Macron stated that Freemasonry is leading a vital struggle for the benefit of humanity. Speaking at the Grand Lodge de France in Paris, Macron remarked that the Freemasons' insignia has long been the focus of conspiracy theories. Macron encouraged Freemasons to take pride in their support for the euthanasia bill, calling it the battle that matters.
Qui lui attribue une influence la mettant ainsi à l'honneur. Un organe de presse a récemment fait procès de vouloir poser sur les débats relatifs à la fin de vie.
So now he is villainizing the conspiracy theorist, trying to turn around the narrative of who he might assume the attackers are, which I guess obviously if the conspiracy theorists are attacking him, at least metaphysically. Jesus.
Comme les autres grandes familles spirituelles, les francs-maçons s'emparent de ce débat fondamental de la fin de vie. Je le dis aussi ici, est une bonne chose. Il est nécessaire que la franc-maçonnerie est aux avant-postes de la bataille qui importe.
I haven't even covered Owen Schroer's news yet. I need to get to that before too long. I know we're getting on a little bit on time today. But I told you, we missed yesterday. There's also just lots of news. I haven't even gotten to some of the better news yet. President Trump demands the truth about COVID vaccines. Wonder if this goes the way he thinks it does. Trump says it is very important that the drug companies justify the success of their various COVID drugs. Many people think they are a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree, with the CDC being ripped apart over this question. I want the answer. And I want it now. I have been shown information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Why not? They go off to the next hunt and let everyone rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug companies' COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now to the CDC and the public and clear up this mess one way or the other. I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as many say it was. If not, we all want to know about it and why. Thank you for your attention to this very important matter, President DJT. Okay. This video is kind of interesting too. It just kind of zooms in and shows all the new mosque in LA. So there's all kinds of mosques everywhere popping up in LA, and they seem to pop up even more as you zoom in. It's kind of crazy. From Europe to Asia, citizens marched for sovereignty against mass migration. The sleeping giant of nations has begun to stir. I'm not going to play this video, but it shows a bunch of different protests from different countries. Just to give you an idea. Japan lives in the future while we live in corruption, I said. Japan trials new drug that regrows human teeth, ending dentures and implants forever. That's cool. Just don't take him from a clone or something crazy. I'm ready for all of this to implode. I require it. What does he say? I forgot. Oh wait, maybe I don't want to play this video.
A clue what it is they are supposed to be doing. They're repeating mistakes. And even though when you tell them, listen, you're breaking the law, they choose to ignore it. Well, here's the problem. When you're told you're breaking the law under the Texas Penal Code, as well as under federal law, you have violated both. And you're told that you're breaking the law and you choose to do nothing about it, you're a co-conspirator. A, and then B, you signed an oath. When you violate that oath, that's a third-degree felony. So you see, this is the reason why the judge, in the beginning, simply punted. She didn't want to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole because think of all the people that in reality should be in jail over this, right? See, the taxing entities themselves, look at this. People that sit on those boards in those taxing entities also signed an oath. They are fully aware of what they're doing.
You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking about things, you know.
Imagine living in a world where you're wide awake, okay? You've had the awakening, you see exactly what's going on in the world, you realize that we're living in a simulation, the Matrix, everything's an illusion, but you're living amongst people that are completely clueless, and they think you're crazy. That's the world I live in. It's a very, my circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller because once your eyes open and you see the world for what it is, you can't go back. And so many people either choose to live in the illusion or they're just blind to it because they've been conditioned that way not to see it. It's a nightmare, really, because they think you're crazy. You tell them stuff and they're like, they're so far behind, I don't have the time to get them up to speed, okay?
I've actually felt this way a lot lately with a lot of people that are very stubborn in my life. That's why I reposted that. But I'm just going to stop it right there. Robert Mueller is now has Parkinson's and thus cannot testify before Congress. So sad. Israeli politicians have their Australian visas canceled if you are coming to Australia to spread a message of hate against Palestinians. We don't want you here. So Australia is standing up to Israel. I believe there was even some new news today from Australia. Maybe yesterday, I can't remember. President Trump says prices are way down in the USA with virtually no inflation. This is from August 31st. I don't know if I agree with that, really. Honestly, a lot of the price drops kind of seem fake to me because they'll just go up, like, within a week or two. So, and they'll, like, fluctuate quite a bit, and it's just kind of odd. Reinstate the Smith Month Act, says Gunther Eagleman. Now, I thought that Obama had put in place the Smith Month Act, but apparently he had modified it. So he changed some things about it, and then he allowed certain abilities for certain government institutions to, I guess, funnel information to the American public, and they were able to propagandize people. Now, the Mockingbird media was already getting around that anyways through the CIA and other methods, but yeah, obviously this made it even easier and even more legal, I would assume. Maybe not, I don't know. President Trump may declare a national housing emergency this fall to address skyrocketing home prices in America, per Secretary Bessent, which there's also an update on the Fed rate cuts. It could come as soon as the next 15 days. So mark your calendars for September 17th. Hopefully we'll see some Fed rate cuts on that day, but it doesn't come with all good news. The Kobesi letter has been following that a lot closer than and that's who I usually report or get the reports from for the economy. So go follow them if you want to be, I guess, I don't know, better informed. But I do cover a lot of their stuff, which, speak of the devil, here's the Kobesi letter. Talking about it right here, I want to say, or maybe not, this is about the UK. UK has been running wartime fiscal deficits as a percent of GDP, despite the last war of UK soil being in World War II. So their deficit is reaching World War II levels. Is that what that means? I guess it does, yeah. It's during a point of peacetime. Interesting. It's making their budgets go down during peacetime. Congratulations to Greta Thunberg for completing her transformation into Lord Farquaad. Just a funny meme. She does look like him quite a bit, though. Elon Musk says, good. Protests erupt in Japan demanding the deportation of all illegal immigrants from Australia to Europe to Japan. Citizens are uniting for re-migration. Cool. Is the CDC a death cult? RFK Jr.'s firing Susan Ramirez exposed what's been hiding in plain sight for 100 years, a much darker agenda in eugenics, sterilization, and depopulation. The mask is finally down. This is war, and it's spiritual. She's got a thread if anybody wants to go read it. Lauren Lee. I'm not too familiar with her, so trust it with your own ability to judge. Historian Jamie Glazov explains how Christian nations are being systematically eliminated. It's exactly what's happening in the UK, Canada, and every Western nation today. Turkey used to be Christian, Egypt used to be Christian, Iraq used to be Christian, Syria used to be Christian, North Africa used to be Christian. Whatever happened to these Christian territories became Islamic. Or they became Islamic. This is annihilation, not assimilation, but it doesn't just happen to the Christians. Afghanistan used to be Buddhist. Pakistan used to be Hindu. Malaysia used to be Hindu. All now Islamic. So, some possible untold genocides. Possible Islamic genocides. So, Owen Schroyer left InfoWars yesterday. I guess I'll finish up the news with this story. And Alex was not happy with a lot of the things that he said. He left along the lines of, I guess, feeling as if Alex was trying to budge his approach or narrative with Trump and possibly Israel. It's more so with Trump, but I want to say there's a lot that's actually kind of attached between Trump and Israel, obviously at the moment, considering, we are funding Israel and Trump is approving a lot of this crap along with Congress. So, it's not like it's just him. So, anyways, but there is some interesting news on the Gaza front. Like I said, I missed the news a week ago. And I'm going to hold Trump to his word on this whole 2 weeks to 3 weeks bit that he said. I'll get to that in a second, though. But Owen Schroyer had like a 5-hour video last night. And he was saying he was going to start his own network. It's going to be called the WIN Network. I think it's the, World Independent News Network or something like that, or maybe Independent Network. I can't remember exactly. It's going to be called WIN, though, in the acronym form. It's going to have like a new studio here soon. It seems like it was somewhat premeditated. Like he was starting to plan this out like a week or so ago, maybe even further along than that. I've even heard that he's moved out of the state at this point, which is even kind of wilder. He, said that he felt like Alex was, I guess, trying to stand over his shoulder too much, maybe trying to preach too much. I think that's just kind of a little bit of Alex's character, though. It's not really him trying to tell Owen what to do. I do think that Owen overstepped quite a bit with what he said. And it came off as a major betrayal to Alex's his character and his credibility, acting as if he is trying to control him in some type of sense. And I personally never got that feeling. I mean, I joked about it in the Rumble chat and everything, but I never actually thought that, Alex was controlling Owen. I kind of think that Owen was probably getting a little paranoid, maybe possibly from what people were saying online, maybe reading the comments too much, reading the chat too much. Do realize that people do make a lot of jokes in chats, and they don't actually mean a lot of the crazy stuff they say. A lot of times they're just trying to get a thrill or trying to get someone's attention. You know how humans are. Humans will do crazy shit to get people's attention. Let's see. Chase Geyser said, I will not be hosting the War Room. I made a decision to work for Bigley a month ago because I felt I could help Alex and InfoWars more effectively by making these stories as awesome as possible. I moved to Arkansas a week ago. Owen will be missed. Alex is an American hero and InfoWars is forever. All three of them will have my support forever. So, we also have Chase Geyser leaving the state of Texas to Arkansas. He's going to be working for Bigley, and I guess he's also going to be helping with the InfoWars store. Is that what I get from this? Help Alex in the InfoWars more effectively by making the store as awesome as possible. I don't know what Bigley has to do with that. Maybe I need to, is Bigley that other, it was like some outlet or something. I think it was a media outlet. Maybe I'm thinking of maybe I'm thinking of Big Think. I think I'm thinking of Big Think. What's Bigley? I forgot. Either way. Harrison Smith says, everything about InfoWars is up front. If you want to know what really happened behind the scenes, just watch Owen's stream. Owen and I have had some crazy adventures under the IW banner. It feels bittersweet to know that era is ending. It sucks he's leaving, but he's got to do what he thinks is best for himself, and I'm sure he's going to be successful. I'm not leaving, and I am actually very excited for the transformation that IW is going through. The future of the media landscape is bright, and we will all dominate together. Yeah, I personally think for Owen's demeanor, his mentality, he needs to work for himself. I think he's just got that independent mindset where he can be his own boss. I don't know if he's prepared to be anybody else's boss just yet, but he didn't seem like he respected Alex enough for him to continue, for him to be his boss anymore. And a lot of that came through with a lot of Alex's expression of Owen today. And even some of the other crew members of InfoWars today, there was a lot of, I guess, very bitterness towards Owen. And, the other crew members were a lot more polite than Alex was, because obviously Alex was the one that felt more personally attacked. He did lash out very harshly. Sixteen-year-old girl, Leanya, was harassed by a group of migrants, then shoved in front of a train. She died while on the phone to her grandfather, who heard her final screams. Sad. President Trump will make an announcement, and I've already shown some of that today. Trump also put out a message against the meeting of, I think it was Putin, Xi, and who was the other? Kim Jong-un, I believe, of North Korea. Get to that in a second if I can find it. Rex put out, was a great honor getting to watch Owen Schroyer for a decade and trajectory of his phenomenal career. I will continue to watch and will be looking forward to the Win Network. That's from Rex Jones. That's Alex's son, Alex Jones' son. Trump demands Pfizer reveal hidden warp speed mRNA injection data in massive reversal. The House of Big Pharma cards is coming down. So yeah, it's good to see Trump actually questioning the mRNA vaccine. Finally, it took, Jesus, almost 6 years. Well, I guess it's probably been like five or four, somewhere in there. Jimmy Dore said finally for the same issue. This is Trump talking about it right here. I'm not going to cover it because I'm trying to shorten this. Trump acknowledges Israel is losing control of Congress. This is what, at least the good news that I was referring to earlier about Gaza and the whole Israel situation. So this is actually what sparked my curiosity, and then some other information came out today. At least I was finally exposed to it. So yeah, Trump acknowledges Israel's losing control of Congress. Very interesting, and this came out yesterday from Reagan Reese, a White House correspondent. And it's also got Matt Gaetz reposting this, so it seems like a trustworthy source. Owen Schroyer has resigned from InfoWars, alleging Alex Jones was pressuring him to back off on criticism of Trump and be less of a pessimist. In which Alex did acknowledge that he did try to tell him to be more positive, but at the same time, I don't think that's enough for Owen to go as far as he did. But like I said, Alex probably went a lot farther. And that's where I just feel like neither side is correct at this point. And I'll show that in a second. Whitney Webb breaks down the coordinated global push for a new dystopian system of control, marrying digital ID with CBDCs. We've already heard this story quite a few times before, so I'm not going to cover this today. Not sure Gnosis says WTF is, what the F is happening? Did an act of God disable Trump or something? Did Israel just lose their knight in shining Israel flag armor? World Source News says, breaking con news, Netanyahu may end Gaza war sooner than planned, citing risk of losing U.S. support. PM tells Israeli ministers Trump's backing has limits. So, seems like Trump is beginning to ease off. This video claims that Alex Jones was starting to realize that Trump is compromised. If you guys want to go watch it, go watch it. I'm not going to play it right now. Got to get up to the rest of this other video that I want to show. Trump's children slam slick health rumors as president returns to golf course. Slick health rumors. That's kind of a weird way to put it. Rudy Giuliani got the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Ian Carroll says shit is heating up out here. September's gonna be weird. Indeed. Made a little grok video of my profile picture. Conor Massey to hold news conference with Epstein victims. People are going to be outraged. I believe that happened today. I want to say that was part of the same event, but maybe it's something separate. I'm not sure yet. Owen has wanted to go for a while. He told me he was quitting yesterday afternoon. He told me if I needed him another week, he would do it, and I said no. It's that simple. I built InfoWars to be a radio talk show on TV. The office is a newsroom. So when big stuff would break, I and others would bring stuff to the show producers. That's as far as me standing over his shoulder went. That's as far as me standing over his shoulder went. Except maybe twice a month walking on to the show. And that's correct. I watched the show. So... That's what we have always done in all the shows, including mine. I have known Owen for over 9 years and love the guy. That said, when I started to watch what he said last night online, it was sad and I stopped. I wish Owen... Is it stopped or stoped? I wish Owen and not all the best to his life and the great work he does fighting evil and promoting freedom. I never censored him and agreed with 99% of what I saw him talk about. I only encouraged him to be more positive in general about the fact that humanity has come a long way in the Great Awakening. Bottom line, he wants to be his own captain, and I think that's great. I'm surprised by the censorship claim he is hinting at, but if he thinks he needs to say that to build his show, that will be on him. As for me, I'm taking the high road and will continue to promote Owen when I see cool stuff he does. Godspeed to Owen. He says he took the high road. I'm about to show you that Alex did not exactly take the high road. He tried. But he got a little egomaniacal and pressed a little too hard against his former coworker / friend. I think they definitely were friends, and I think some of this emotional reaction is a sign of their friendship to some degree. Sometimes friendships get harsh like this, and they become your worst enemy. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. So hopefully they can muster an apology towards each other, since they both went completely dark and wild. Alex went a little bit darker. Nancy Pelosi stock trader, which I don't think I need to follow this person. Oh wait, this is the right one. Never mind. There was some other stock trader that followed me today. I don't think it's the same profile. Anyways, this is the real one. Okay, that's good. Who said politicians don't get rich? Ilhan Omar just reported that her net worth is more than $30 million? Yeah. That's a 66,676% increase since she was first elected to Congress back in 2019. Well, look at that. She got rich quick, huh? Donald Trump announces the Space Command is moving to from Colorado to Alabama. I talked about that. Where's that video I'm looking for? Okay, that's part of the video. I don't think that's all the video. I think there was a shorter video. Where is it? Did I post it late? Or did I not post? I could have swore I posted a different video for this. Anyways, let's go back to the other video. Shit, I went way too far. Too many videos. Well, here we go, guys. This is part of Alex's reaction. I've got some other reactions somewhere.
You are a snake. You are a rat. You are a fraud. You are a backstabber. You are a handbiter. You are a disgrace. And I don't know if it's his personal life. I don't know if it's stuff he's smoking. But I've seen a lot of people get paranoid, you know, that smoke pot and go nuts. But I mean, I can just tell you this right now, that I'm not here to be shit on or stabbed in the back. This crew isn't your punching bag, and we did nothing.
I hate that he said that some people do pot and they go nuts. You know, pot is one of those things that chill you down. So, like, if you ever get mad on pot, it is probably kind of dangerous because you're a lot more focused. You're a lot more coordinated. I mean, at least I am, like, whenever I've done it. So, like, and I mean, you know, that just tells you that I know. Like, I get a lot more focused whenever I'm angry, and I guess I've been kind of chilled out by something. Now, alcohol, I never really responded that well with, but whenever it comes to, like, weed, I mean, like, he's one to talk. He used to be an alcoholic. You know, and he's come a long way. He's done a lot better for himself. He's lost a lot of weight. He's supposedly quit drinking. So, you know, let's not make Alex out to be a saint either if he's going to make out, you know, Owen to be bad. Neither one of these people are saints or is correct on either side of this playing field, in my opinion. But you're free to make your own opinions here.
Thing to you, but be loyal. And your little 5-hour extravaganza of little puppy dog that doesn't know why, and he just wanted to come back and shake my hand. He starts talking to me like he's literally a pimp and I am a crack whore. He's like, here's how it's going to be. I'm leaving. And blah, blah, blah. Well, what's the problem? What's the thing? Well, I mean, what can we do? I mean, you know, I don't understand. He's like, well, it's just gone on too long and whatever. But I'll tell you this, if you're really desperate, you can pay me more money. But I'll tell you this, I'm going to promote my new show on InfoWars. And I went, which again, I'm not even against him having a show. If he was nice, I was just like, it was just kind of like, I was like, well, I said, you know, in the bankruptcy stuff, I can't really give you a raise. But I said, that's okay, Owen. He goes, well, you know what? You know, it's a favor for you. I'll come in and do a week. And I'm like, no, that's okay, Owen. That's fine. I wish you well. And I hung up and literally got a tear in my eye because he was talking to me with just like Patrick Bateman or something. So then he races out and goes on air and is like, you know, I'm just leaving because, you know I can't talk about Trump, and, you know, I know it hurts Jones's access, and, you know, he really, you know, all innuendo. He didn't have the guts to just tell the pure lie that I told him to do stuff, which I didn't. And a bunch of other stuff. I haven't even watched half of it. It's just so painful to watch. He's sitting there manipulating and wriggling around like a snake, trying to make it as bad as he can, but skate the edge so he can say, I never did that, because he got the whole crew knows it's not true. He's got the other hosts that know it's not true. He then runs on air and is like, I just wanted to come back for a week and shake his hand and thank him. But he didn't. He doesn't want to be my friend. Meanwhile, let me tell you how it is. I mean, literally, yeah, no, it's all over. You can't get me back. I tell you, though, if you're really desperate. And he said that, and I went, excuse me? There was more, and he goes, well, I mean, if you want to do something really desperate, and he was really getting off on it. And I'm like going, this is an evil son of a bitch, man. Wow, I had a snake around here. I had no idea. And I literally started getting tears in my eyes because he was burning down like an old house. It burns up in like 2 minutes. He's burning down. I'm just like, oh, and I got to go, man. And I literally stumbled in the pool, and I was just like, And I was like, I'm going to take the high road. I called the crew. I said, let's be nice. Let's be sweet. And then I started seeing the clips. And Owen, man, you're a piece of crap, brother. All right. And if I was anybody, I wouldn't turn my back on Owen Schroyer. So, I mean, he took Snake to the next level. So Owen Schroyer's dead to me. If he goes on air and repents to Jesus and apologizes for being demon-possessed or whatever it is he is, then I will forgive him. But he thinks that he would like absorb us as a launch pad and lie about us to make himself a victim so he could project himself and launch his own show when he cut and run and didn't even call me or didn't even say anything or didn't even say, hey, what can I do? He just cut and run and said, I'm done with you people. When Bloomberg and The Onion came in here and ransacked this place, and we stood up to him and won thanks to your backing and God's providence, and the whole time, he was trying to cut and run. But then when he figured out that, oh, it's still there, he slunk back over, and I never even came to him and said, hey, it's good to have you back, man. Glad, blah, blah. Just, yeah, okay, sure. Just like that. People say, why would you swing around like that? Because I wasn't going to give him what he wanted. I knew what he was going to do, but I wanted to make sure. It's one thing to know what somebody's going to do, but it's another to wait till they do it. And he did it worse than I thought. First off, betrayal is one of the most despicable things there is. And particularly betrayal that is carefully crafted and that is premeditated. To know that someone who acts like they're your friend is plotting and scheming and manipulating, and to just disregard it because you're a loyal person, and then to see that individual betray not just you, but the crew and the idea of what we are and how embattled we are, and to try to cast us as the villains and he as the hero and the victim. I will not put up with it. It is the holy grail out there to be censored, because when you really are censored, people want to Streisand effect find out what's been censored. And I've been really censored. I've been really attacked, and so has InfoWars. But I've never accused people of censoring or oppressing me who didn't do it. And we had another talk show host about 6 years ago post on Twitter that we were censoring him. He didn't say what. I came into him and I said, what did we ever censor? What did we ever do? And he said, I'm not talking to you about it. You know you're censoring me. And I said, how? I said, listen, do it again, you're fired. And about a year later, they were uploading his morning show, and this happens, every once in a while, and only the first hour went up, and he flipped out and went online and said that he was being censored by us. And I called him up, and he started yelling at me, don't you give me that. And I said, the guys, all the time we upload stuff to everywhere. They'll upload it. We don't even know, what were you talking about? He was bashing Trump. And I said, that's it, you're fired, man. Not because of what he was saying about topics, but because he was saying we were censoring him. So, and that was David Knight. So I've got a real problem with this. And I took the high road on that because I wasn't very close to David Knight, and he was kind of the grumpy old man and was just frustrated that his show wasn't as popular as mine. And I promoted it and just had a chip on his shoulder. And I mean, I did stuff like, give him hundreds of thousands of dollars when he had a heart attack, and hire both his sons and, kiss his ass. And the more I was nice to him, the more he just got angry and hateful. And then he's gone out since then and disgraced himself and said that I flat out censored him on things. Oh, really? Show the proof. Not true. I mean, this is ridiculous, okay? So, Owen Schroyer has now done this, and the way he did it is particularly deceptive, like he thinks I'm stupid. Got a very aggressive phone call from him with him yesterday, and then he ran off and did his publicity stunt at my expense, the crew's expense, at this institution's expense, and I mean just lie after lie after lie. I mean, I've got, and we're checking with lawyers right now, but I've got his tax filings. I've got what he's paid. I've got everything here. Said he hadn't had a raise since 2018. Since 2018, he's had multiple raises of $80,000 on top of what he was paid before, and huge bonuses. Have it all right here. That's just one example.
Yeah, I just think that they both revealed things about each other that they probably shouldn't have. I think Owen might have exaggerated a few things, and Alex got heated about it. He felt like he was lied about. But also, I just don't think that he should have done it as publicly as he did it. I don't think it's a good look for either of them. So yeah, this says in 15 days the Fed will cut rates for the first time in 2025, yet the 30-year Treasury yield is now near 5%. We have rising interest rates as markets price in Fed interest rate cuts. You realize what's happening. I might have misquoted a number earlier too whenever I said I guess the 3% was actually 4 or 5%. I think I was actually referring to this. The Treasury yield. I'm not an economist, so don't ever take my advice with anything that comes with the economy. I'm just reading off what their report is. It's a deeper thread, so go look at it if you want to find that post from the Kobisi letter. OpenAI says it's scanning users' ChatGPT conversations and reporting consent to the police. Content. Reporting content to the police, not consent. They're giving consent to the police, though. Okay. I think we're just going to have to stop right here because it seems like the news is endless today and I've gone over 2 hours. So.